from a large family. Like a Christmas dinner at Grandma's house was held in a municipal building kind of large family. More than 60 first cousins, many of them with my same last name. So I didn't understand that it was an unusual last name until I went away to college. It was printed on the back of my high school track sweatshirt, and that pullover sweatshirt was really practical when I had to roll out of bed for an 8 a.m. math class. I will never forget the first time it happened. I heard someone screech from behind me very early in the morning. "What is printed on the back of your sweatshirt?" I glanced over my shoulder. My name. I didn't stop because, of course, I was late, and as I ducked into Violet Hall, I heard a very confused person say, "That's your name?" Then it dawned on me. At the beginning of the semester, my professors did seem to give it pause, like a big pause, in the middle. When calling roll on the first day of class, when they'd get to me, every one of them said my first name, then paused, and then very tentatively started, "His Cox?" By about the third or fourth time, I chimed in with a pretty quick "Hiscox," just like it's spelled. Because honestly, a pause in the middle, not good. These days, if you've ever listened to NPR, you probably have heard the underwriting announcements for Hiscox Insurance. And well, if you need to insure your satellite or yourself against kidnappers, you may even have Hiscox Insurance. So while certainly not ubiquitous, many more people have heard the name Hiscox. And visually, the company logo, it has a cute little fleur-de-lis and 6 simple letters, Hiscox. My name does not. By the mid-19th century, my family landed in the Hiscocks camp. I've also seen Hiscock, Hitchcock, Hescox. I don't know why my family chose this spelling. Honestly, for most of us, improved literacy and computers have done more to determine the spelling of our names rather than some grand tradition. Back in 1813, the general masses of people probably didn't care that much about it because most of them couldn't read it anyway. So this is your first lesson in genealogy. Don't get too twisted in a knot about the spelling of your name. In today's computer-managed world, we often determine whether or not we are dealing with the right person based solely on the spelling of their name. In 2023, Bob Swenson and Bob Swanson seem like two distinct people. 100 years ago, it was common to see names like Swenson and Swanson pop up on official documents like census records or even marriage licenses for the same person. I'll be honest, as a person who had such a strong identification with my name, it was surprising to see it spelled so many different ways. There was one consistency, though: the names Robert, Charles, Henry, and William, and various combos thereof. Henry Charles, Henry William, Charles William, and Robert combined with a variety of names. Coincidentally, the longtime president of Hiscox Insurance is a Robert Ralph Scrimger Hiscox. So far, I haven't found any Ralphs in the family tree, certainly not any Scrimgers, but Robert Ralph Scrimger Hiscox does have roots in Wiltshire, an English county that borders Somerset, and it is in Somerset County where I've been able to confidently identify my 4 times great-grandfather, Charles Hiscox, and his wife, Elizabeth. I'm confidently identifying them with the caveat that there seems to have been more than one couple living in Somerset County named Charles and Elizabeth Hiscox, but one of those couples had 4 children who were all baptized into the Church of England on the very same day. And one of those siblings was Henry Charles Hiscox, my 3 times great-grandfather, and I think that he was the guy who had done something very important with the Queen's horses. More about that after a message from our sponsor. Are you worried about your kids in the summer slide? I'm not talking about water park safety. I'm talking about your kids forgetting things they learned in school when they take an educational break over the summer. Well, Paper Pie has a variety of books and activities to make sure your kids don't careen off in the wrong direction during the next few months. Paper Pie brand partner Amy Barr is as excited about Paper Pie products as I am about genealogy. You may have heard of Usborne Books. Well, Usborne Books is now Paper Pie, and the products go far beyond books and include things like Smart Lab toys, which provide kits for how to make lip balm or building a robot. Find all these amazing products online at x10582.paperpie.com. That's x10582.paperpie.com to go directly to brand partner Amy Barr's Paper Pie page. And thank you, Amy, for sponsoring today's episode. If you listened to my teaser episode, you'll recall that when I began my genealogical journey, I knew only 3 things: the name of my great-grandfather who had emigrated to the U.S. through Ellis Island, somebody had done something important with the Queen's horses, and that supposedly my great-grandmother had tickets to the Titanic and missed the boat. Of these 3 stories, I honed in on the story of the Queen's horses first. I don't really want to get into a debate about the British monarchy, but as a farm kid, I kind of thought, it doesn't really matter if the horse manure you're cleaning up is the Queen's horse manure. It's still just horse doo-doo. So this very inexperienced budding genealogist started digging around the internet to see what I could find. I honestly just started Googling. I stumbled across a database of the history of the employees of Buckingham Palace and found that, indeed, someone named Hiscox had been employed there. Then, I made a rookie mistake. I didn't take a screenshot of the info or save it into a cloud account. I didn't record a citation. I didn't realize that this database was only temporarily available for free and would soon be behind a paywall. So, genealogical lesson number 2. Don't assume information you find once will be easy to find when you look a second time. Document it the first time. Take a screenshot. Take a photo with your phone camera. Also, record a citation so you and others will be able to reference it. Shockingly, there is not a standard form in which to record a genealogical citation. I wanted to make a joke here about how Kate Turabian was turning over in her grave, but my 60-second search was unable to identify a cemetery where her remains are resting. So as a genealogist, I just didn't feel right doing it. Instead, I'll just channel my inner Kate Turabian and explain that your citations should be consistent and provide enough information for anyone reading the facts in your research to find the same records. Titles, dates, publication names, publishers, volumes, page numbers, microfilm ID numbers, holders of the records like the National Archives. And for that unique information that no one else may ever have, like photos, identify people in photos from left to right and front to back. Include a date of the photo and location or event if you can. And where you found that photo can also be very helpful. Whose photo album is it from? Every fact in your research should have a source, and every source should have a corresponding citation. Even if that citation says, Aunt Bonnie or Aunt Judy told me this sometime in the early aughts at a Hiscox golf event. Because sources and citations are cumulative, it is information that you are building upon. You may record someone's birth with the citation only citing the index for birth records for Cheshire County, information you'll need to acquire the actual birth certificate. So in addition to not documenting what I had found, diving into 200-year-old records is a really dumb way to do any sort of genealogical research. And probably why, when I first started researching my family history, I wasn't very successful in finding a lot of information. Experienced genealogists will tell you to go from the known to the unknown. I just started digging around in Ancestry.com because, well, it's easy. In the future, I'll do some videos about Ancestry best practices, but today I want to talk to you about hints. Ancestry hints are actually very controversial. They can easily lead you down the wrong path because they are often based on what others have in their trees. And sometimes folks just copy things without thinking. I'm also going to do an entire episode called I Am Not Related to Jane Gregory and Neither Are You. But I'm not going to tell you to ignore hints or other people's trees because those places often include things that will never be found in a genealogical database. A family photo, a funeral card, a scan of births and deaths recorded in a family Bible. Or like this gem, the very first family photo I ever found on Ancestry. Okay, you can't really see it because I don't have permission yet to use it, but someday. But I have to tell you, this photo took my breath away. There he is, Henry Charles Hiscox. He carries himself so much like my dad. I know he's sitting in a chair, but his posture, it's just so familiar. And the nose and the eyes, we can't see his calves though. Initially, I marveled at how much I looked like these people, but now, after years of trying to build my family tree, I realized that this photo was literally a genealogical goldmine. 4 generations all in one place. Henry Charles Hiscox, his son Henry William Hiscox, his granddaughter Frances Eleanor Hiscox Lawton, and his great-grandson Charles William Lawton. My tree blossomed from this photo. This photo and an investment in a lot of time and resources. I don't want these stories to remain behind a paywall, so I'm going to share them with you. So please take a moment to subscribe to this channel and come on this journey with me. It's YouTube. You know how it works. Subscribe, hit the bell, blah, 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 blah. So how do I know that the guy in this photo is the guy who did something very, very important with the Queen's horses? Well, using our genealogical guideline of moving from the known to the unknown, my path was actually laid out for me by photographs. This is a photograph of my great-grandfather, Robert Upson Hiscox. And this photo is lifted right out of this group shot of Robert along with his dad and 3 brothers. It's literally the same photo with just the background removed. But I don't have a copy of the group photo. I found it on Ancestry.com along with the 4 generations photo. And I don't have permission to show them to you, which is why I'm not showing them to you. But Henry William is in both photos. So I know that the other gentleman is Henry Charles. I got lucky. The person who posted these photos had a family photo album and accurate notations in the family photo album. And she shared it on Ancestry.com. So at this point, it really was just a matter of narrowing down which one of these guys, which one of these Henrys, worked at Buckingham Palace. So Ancestry Hints, again, showed me this, page 91 of the 1854 British Imperial Calendar listing Henry Charles Hiscox as the messenger for the Master of the Horse Department. Google Books led me to the 1858 Royal Calendar, which lists H. Hiscox as the messenger for the Horse Department, which is not the least bit helpful. There's an entire period in mid-19th century, early 20th century, where men refer to themselves just by their initials. Exasperating. And then I thought, yay, found the horse guy. I even have a photo of the horse guy. First mystery solved. Check. But then I thought, what is the Master of the Horse Department? And what do they do? What do they master? Well, the role has changed, but during Queen Victoria's time, the Master of the Horse was actually a political position, which was held by a member of the British peerage. You'll see on this page, it says the Duke of Wellington. In addition, this department was also in charge of horses and carriages, and making sure the monarch got to where she needed to go when traveling by horse. Today, the department is under the Crown Equerry, but is still in charge of horses and carriages. The Crown Equerry also handles car travel, but there is a separate transportation department that handles train, air, and boat travel. But wait, this does seem way too simple. How do we know that my Henry Charles is the Buckingham Palace Henry Charles? It could just be a naming coincidence. Because you know who else has a Henry Charles Hiscox in the family? That's right, insurance tycoon Robert Ralph Scrimger Hiscox. He has a son named Henry Charles Hiscox. Seems like there's a lot more work to do to prove that the Buckingham Palace Henry Charles belongs to me. But that's going to have to wait until the next episode. See you next Wednesday on Spinster Aunt.